Uh, Bang Bang Nine the Gang Faithful Boys Podcast. Uncle Keith, Big Prayers, Benjamin Ness. What's good with it, fellas?
Like what it
It's all good,
do?
bro. It's all good. We outside? Well, no, we
Yeah.
need to be inside. Man, it's so hot down here. I saw a tree sit down looking for shade. I'm telling you, man. It's so hot down here in Florida. I saw a dog chasing a cat. Both of them was walking.
Hey, man, I can believe y'all. Yeah, man.
But ask me how hot it was down here. Somebody asked me.
How was it, man?
That homeboy down there had some cornrows. He went outside and started popping like popcorn. Woo! It's hot down here.
Yeah.
How y'all doing, fellas?
Chilling, man. Well,
It's all
It's all
good.
good. Bro, it's all good, man. Look.
It's all good.
Woo! Shouts out to P Warrior, bro. Look forward to you joining us next time. But we definitely gonna hold it
Do
down.
that.
Got a lot to talk about. We got the joint practices popping. We definitely need to talk about the physical conditioning, as Unc had brought up. We definitely got to talk about the quarterbacks too. We always know that's a hot topic. Hopefully, we could touch the O line a little bit. I heard McKivitz didn't look so good, I guess, in his first joint practice, but you know,
Oh, McKibben goes
ain't
right
a
into
lot,
conditioning.
of
McKibben,
people look good against Max Crosby though either.
yeah, but McKibben lost about 30 pounds in the offseason.
look,
And
and I think it was
every
Chandler
time,
Jones who was getting him too.
and every time he
Yeah,
gets below 300 pounds, he gets tossed around like a rag doll. He looks like about 280.
they ain't address it, man. They,
Six
they,
foot, 6'6", 280. Man, come on,
they,
give that man a sandwich.
A
facts.
couple of them.
Yeah,
You
man.
know,
So
They didn't address that position properly.
no, they didn't, and they're gonna have to.
totally agree with you, brother. Totally agree with you. But like the last couple shows, fellas, quarterback, man, Brock Purdy, slated in as QB1, as
Mhm.
expected, definitely by you guys on the panel. Y'all know I'm still side-eyeing it a little bit, but hey, And in the clip, we put up the majority of Brock Purdy's highlights as well as Trey Lance from camp so far before they went to the joint practices. So I think today 9-16, a pick, maybe 2 touchdowns for Purdy. I think Lance maybe only got like 4 attempts. I believe I can't think of the tight end name who been dropping everything in camp. So he dropped one in the end zone.
Cam
Yeah.
Lodu.
Yeah, so
There was 6 passes dropped today.
that seemed like that's been a theme the last couple of days too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So definitely need to tighten that up. But Brock Purdy QB1, fellas, 9-16, a pick, 2 touchdowns. What y'all think about Brock? And we don't even. I guess Trey QB2.
Well, let's talk about that. All right, now for all that we have, we can start with QB, the slated QB3 right now, because the battle's supposed to be between 2 and 3. A lot of folks trying to hype up Trey going to QB1 to start the season and have Purdy come back. You can't unring that bell. If you start Trey, you're going to have to stay with Trey. Trey plays well. Point blank, period. 2, Trey is not a better quarterback than Purdy. And I'll explain that in a little bit. Let's talk about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is Jimmy Garoppolo without the good looks. He's a slant, big, good ball placement, locks on the target, weak deep ball, no deep touch, no fade route ability for a tall guy with 5 years experience. He's Jimmy G without the good looks. For the type of talent this guy is, he's a good backup quarterback because he'll finish out a game, but he is not. He has happy feet and no heart. Point blank, period.
Shit.
QB2. We can slant Trey Lance in there because if they don't put Trey Lance as QB2, you might as well trade him right away.
Well, you can't trade him if he go down to QB3.
Yeah, you can't trade him. You got to leave him in QB2. What Trey can do, and what Trey's basically trying to do the same thing that Purdy's doing. Both of them have a tremendous talent, and both of them are trying to play themselves into shape, into condition, into touch. Trey's advantage or disadvantage is, or advantage is 2 years with the playbook. He studied it on the sideline. He knows the themes, everything. He knows what everybody's supposed to be. The problem is he hasn't thrown that many passes. Since 2017, he's thrown 416 competitive passes. That's ridiculous. There are 11 second-string quarterbacks in the last 3 years that have thrown more passes than Trey. Backup quarterbacks. So you've got to get him some reps with the first team because he's going to have to be your QB2. He's going to be better than Darnold by a mile. Purdy, comparing him to Jimmy G. His QBR rating at this point in his career is 119 to Jimmy G's 94. What gives him a tremendous advantage is his touchdown to interception ratio. What comes down to the one most important fact besides heart is I heard somebody say today, and I think it was Rice who said, Purdy has the best quarterback eyes he's seen since Montana. The ability to look somebody off the play and still see the whole field. You can't teach it, which is why Arnold got picked off so much, which is why Trey will get picked off so much. They lock in on their receivers. They really do. Purdy, for all intents and purposes, even Phil Simms' son said today that Purdy understands the system, but is the best person to improvise out of the system when it's not working. That's based on QB intellect, vision, and talent. Now, can Trey throw the ball deeper, better? Yes. But Purdy's going to throw it more accurately and more situationally. Veterans' eyes. Kind of hard to beat that. That's my take on all 3 quarterbacks. Purdy, unless he's not physically capable, is QB1. Trey has got to be QB2 and get the reps. And Sam Darnold is cleanup man. Give him a mop, give him a bucket, but don't give him the game ball unless you have to.
Prayers, talk to me, bro. I'll let you rebuttal first, then I'll have a little pushback for Uncle Keaton. We could,
I mean,
We ready?
I mean, It just got it's going. I mean, I'm just not big on. I'm me personally. I'm not big on preseason. I think this exists outside of this locker room, and it doesn't exist inside the locker room.
Good
But
point.
I mean, ultimately, it's staying healthy. Um, Brock continuing not to show any signs of like arm issues or fatigue or anything like that. And then it's been healthy and ready to go week one because we got our schedule. We got a lot of the better teams this year. And we're gonna have to we really gonna have to and a physical, you know what I'm saying? Like going having to play the NFC East. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a physical division. I feel like that's probably the most from a defensive standpoint. That's a real tough division to play against. So I think we got more battles this year, physical battles that they got to go through, man. So it's all about just being healthy, man, and being ready to go. Because we can't afford to lose games early. We can't afford to lose games early. We got to win. We got to win them games that we got to win. Because for me, every year it's like we're at the point where it's like it's one seed or bust for us. Like we need the one seed. We need the and we got to play like that out the get go. And everything else is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Purdy's playing this weekend in the game, so Trey's gonna get, but it ain't gonna be with the first team. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, in my opinion, we're not gonna see it. Like, you're not gonna see Trey Lance with the ones in the preseason. You're not gonna see it. Like, this doesn't exist. Like, it's set in stone as far as who's going who, and it's like at this point, it's getting everybody ready. You know what I'm saying? And and then outside of that, we're gonna see what Purdy does when it's time to go, week one, and then go from there. It could be Purdy's job all season, and we can do what we do, or he could struggle, and it could be Lance at some point. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's set in stone as far as with Purdy gonna have to get hurt or not play well for there to be any Trey Lance.
All right, bro. I ain't gonna push back too much, Uncle Keith, for the sake of not necessarily being redundant. You know, you already know how I feel, but I will say this: couple things.
Talk to me.
First off, the whole "eyes like Montana" to me, yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest stretches I ever heard in my life, and I'm not trying to knock. I guess the opinion. I don't know which 49 greats you said it came from,
Rice.
but at the end of the day, they've been trying to equate whomever is the flavor of the week to the great players of old too much. So I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Rice took the little wide receiver on the hill. I can't think of his name. We had so many busts at receiver, but y'all get the point. So when I hear that kind of stuff, I'm good on it. Just show me on the field. If you really Montana, we'll see it and we'll win some chips. Trey Lance, I don't think he a turnover machine. I think ultimately him or Brock Purdy, because with all the passes Brock supposedly have thrown in comparison to Trey, they both still young in the league as far as experience. You know what I'm saying? So they both could still be kind of fooled by coverages and shit. What you say, Brad?
I was just real quick. I read a tweet and I forgot to write it down, but it was something about Kyle Shanahan's quarterbacks have always thrown interceptions. It's the offense. A lot of this is the offense. When it's that quick dink and dunk, when it comes down to these quarterbacks, Purdy's gonna throw interceptions. Trey Lance is gonna throw interceptions. Like it's because it's if you miss in this offense,
You miss badly.
It's picks because if it's tipped off their hand, well, you're throwing into two layers. It's not like you're getting 15 yards down the field most of the time. You know what I'm saying? And then you're in between somebody. So a tip ball, you know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people that can catch it. Tip balls when it's a 5 or a 6 or 7 yard throw. Those are deflections that end up in interceptions. So it's like you got to be accurate. People are just gonna throw interceptions.
Well, that's my thing on that though, Press. Interceptions due to inaccuracy is different to me from interceptions due to decision making. I'm more talking about decision making interceptions as opposed to you get the ball somewhere in the vicinity, somebody tip it or the receiver don't catch it, and it result in a you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about are you making the right reads, going the right places with the ball? In my opinion, Trey Lance don't per his little history, he don't turn the ball over a lot. He'll either throw it away, take the sack. He not. No, you feel me? So
Who
when
would
I'm
you rather
listening,
scramble, Purdy or Lance?
who would I rather what?
Scramble on a broken play, Purdy or Lance?
Honestly, I don't really have a favorite. I feel like both of them athletic enough to get out the pocket and make a play. It just depends on where they going with it when they getting out the pocket. Ultimately, if he's scrambling, he got to make a long throw. I wanted to be Trey because he got more of an arm. Other than that, I don't really have a preference.
Okay, fair enough.
Because like they both of them, I feel have the ability. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't seen enough either one of them do it enough to really say I would like this one over the other one.
Who do you think should be QB1?
Who do I think should be QB1?
Yeah.
Honestly, bro, I think it should be an open competition. I feel like they both coming off an injury. I understand what Purdy did last year, but at the end of the day, if you that good and like it's gonna show, so let's just get to it. You feel me?
I don't necessarily disagree. I don't
That
disagree.
I can understand why, but to me, like all that to me still come back to a certain degree, Kyle and how he deal with the locker room, and
Here's my question. Do you not think it's possible? I say this to anybody, that it's possible that it was an open competition, but it was never a competition because in their eyes, the better quarterback is the one that's playing. Because that's honestly how I feel about it. Like when we really look at it and how it's gone.
I feel you on that. My only pushback would be I could feel that initially of what you saw. But then once you see what's going on now, to me, you have to reevaluate. Now, if Trey looking as good as they say with the new mechanics and all this shit, and all the shit I hear as far as camp, he been the best quarterback at camp. Now we could put a caveat on it because Purdy coming off injury, even though
Well,
Trey coming off
but
injury too. But
Trey's mostly playing against the second team, where all of Purdy's reps are the first team. So he's not playing against. He's
The
not
best.
playing against.
the
He's
level
not.
of competition,
Well, he's never played against the level of competition. I think if we all take it past fandom, and you were a coach running the team, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying, or the GM running the team, at some point it comes down to this dude, Trey Lance. Not his fault. Maybe drafted in the wrong place. Shouldn't have been traded up for. So he get all this animosity and this. We spent 3 first rounders on him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's got dealt a fair hand, but if you're talking about a Super Bowl team, no one has any idea about Trey Lance. There's no nothing about Trey Lance. I think in his games he's looked very mediocre. I don't think he's shined. I don't think it's his fault. I don't think that he's had enough reps. I don't think he's had any of this. But if we talking about a team that should be already could have already a Super Bowl since Shanahan's be there, just one. It's like it's something that it comes down to Purdy's got college and NFL experience now compared to Trey Lance, who still has nothing. Like, even if you play them in practice against the ones, what is that really proving? You know each other's scheme. It's the same players every day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but that's
you
the thing.
never
But
had
but
a chance.
prayer, you can't on one hand say it don't matter because you know the scheme, but then on the other hand try to grade him off the caliber of talent he facing.
I'm not great. I'm not saying it's fair to him in any way,
Oh
shape, or
no, I'm not saying that you saying it's fair. I'm just saying like you kind of you're double judging him, and like to me, I'm just saying pick one. Like I like the level of competition he facing in practice, ones and twos. I'm not necessarily tripping off. Again, when you drop back, are you supposed to throw the deep end? Are you doing what you supposed to do? And is the ball going where it's supposed to go?
Let
That's
me
how I'm
chime in on that.
judging.
Let me
Talk to
chime
me.
in on that. let's look at what happened this offseason. Trey had probably his best offseason workout lead up to camp. They changed his mechanics because they obviously saw something wrong with his mechanics and where the ball was going. So now he has a new learned skill he has to put into game time situation if he's QB1. He doesn't have a ton of experience in game time situations against number ones on the other side of the ball. Point blank period over the last 6 seasons.
Thanks.
One thing we saw for certain with Purdy, though, is he got thrust in, limited preparation, and stood up. There's no doubt you can question the man's heart or what he did for this team last season. When you said it was a competition that really wasn't a competition, I totally agree. He would have to do something so significant, and I don't see. And for what I'm hearing locker room support, because you got to have 2 quarterbacks. We saw what happened when we get down to 1. You've got to build Trey up. You've got to get his confidence up. Sam Darnold is a mop-up man at best. Straight up, I keep saying, like Carol Burnett, give him a mop and a broom. Let him clean up. He's a dink and a dunk, and sometimes you can throw the ball downfield, and sometimes you'll throw it into triple coverage. So Purdy is your QB1 as far as I'm concerned, based on game time experience on a team with this much talent in front of him. You need a quarterback that can weather the storm, because the offensive line is still what? Questionable at best.
Young and got some question marks for sure.
But I saw something today. I watched Mason break a 3rd and long and take it to the house against the ones. I did see that. And everybody's coming out of camp saying he's the 2nd best running back on the team ahead of Elijah Mitchell. So when you got those guns, if you have an abundance of riches at your position players, you need a quarterback that just makes good decisions. And of the 3 quarterbacks, the one that's shown the best decision-making ability has been Purdy.
Hey, man.
Showing it in the game. Let me just say it that way. It comes down to what we see in the game.
Big time situations too.
Like, ooh, pressure.
And a lot of them. Like,
get on the biggest stage and beat the best quarterback in the game 35-3.
I think they said the first rookie ever. Rookie ever to beat Tom Brady. And it's a team sport, and they scored 7 points, so he wouldn't have had to have a game. He had a game, but he wouldn't have had to have a game and still got that W.
What?
Because the defense is what it is. So, but yeah, man.
He sound like Montana to me. When y'all talk about him, I hear Montana. Boy, I can't wait.
I mean, I don't say I didn't watch Montana, so I really don't. I did.
I did.
And Jerry Rice, I'm not a.
You're not a what for Jerry Rice?
I'm not a fan of Jerry Rice.
All right, sacrilege. Somebody check his shoes. Somebody check his pocket. He just put some sugar on some shit.
He always saying outlandish stuff.
It's okay though. And when you the GOAT, you can Billy. You can just bay all over the place.
He
be a Billy GOAT. I'm trying to tell. And let me ask you a question. He's also a tremendous fan of the team, so he's gonna see what he wants to see through gilded glass. And I respect that. And I wouldn't expect him to say anything less, because again, when you hear something from Jerry Rice, you hear something from Michael Jordan about a player or an event or something, it's gonna have an effect on that player's psyche.
Well,
and what we're finding that when you go away from pure bruteness, you got to deal with mindset. And this NFL is different than it was 20 years ago when it comes to mindset.
I got a question for y'all too. Go ahead, Prez.
Well, I like I said, I'm not a Jerry Rice advocate, and I think he says a lot of bullshit. But I will say, he did play with Montana. He did play with Young. Yep. So if he says it, that's the greatest of all time saying something. I'm not saying, because I don't. I'm telling you, like
AJ Jenkins, his name.
He says a lot of dumb shit. Yeah. He's a homer. You know what I'm saying? I think I listen to Steve Young. Like Steve Young, I feel like is a fan, but he also keeps it real about the team. And I feel like these other cats, you don't get that. Either way, my opinion don't mean shit. But so
it does mean something.
If he is on them in their lives and how they go about what they say, it don't matter what I feel about.
I got you.
Appreciate you though. But yeah, no. So it's just like, but he is making that statement. You know what I'm saying? Like Alex Smith was here and he didn't make that statement. Jimmy Garoppolo was here, he didn't make that statement. You know what I'm saying? So there could be. I mean, there could be. It's like you can't say it. It's too early, and I'm not saying that anything. At the end of the day, I don't care who they compare him to. Like if he goes out there and does what he does last year, we got our franchise quarterback. Like that's really what it is, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And there's no reason that I think that he's not going to do what he continued to do, because I think he's that dude. I think he's that dude, and I think he's really got a fight. Like I feel like he talks shit. Like he really wants to talk that shit, but he's young and has to prove it. But I also feel like he's gonna be a dude that's going to be a little Aaron Rodgers.
Like he's fiery.
100%. He gonna talk that shit, bro, and he'll be in the
He's one of those young quarterbacks that have come out recently. Like what was that guy? The two last busts. I mean, all the hype from
Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel. There's another one that just got kicked up from North Carolina. All these guys came out with the hyperbole, but this kid is a baller. He's a baller.
I remember
the first thing he did when we saw him, when we started noticing him, was he changed the play that was sent into him because he saw the field. And he did it before he had the starting job. That took some guts. We talked about it all last season. Remember at the beginning of the season?
Thanks.
So when you say that, first of all, it's a risk to do that. That takes some guts, because that can get you benched and put beyond the third string. Secondly, you pulled it off, which put the teams around your teammates started getting confidence in you. And trust me, team confidence and spirit is a big thing.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
100%. Last thing I say on that is my moment for Brock Purdy, because Ben, you got to keep in mind, bro, like I was not a Purdy fan when he even came in and started those games and anything, bro. Like I wasn't on that. But, bro, he went down the field and he threw that touchdown, and he immediately started pounding on his chest, looking at the sideline after that touchdown, after his first touchdown. And all you saw in that same still was Trent Williams turning around, and after he had watched the touchdown, he turned around and he saw him beating on his chest like that. And Trent Williams immediately started like that and ran straight to him. That's when I felt something changed, because that's Trent Williams. And he was he got that. He's a real one. He looked at Purdy like, oh, he's a gangster.
He got that meat. Let me tell you something I saw in a couple games. I saw Purdy get knocked down and saw 3 teammates go pick him up. Not 1, not 2, but 3. That's when you got a QB1. Watch how your team reacts to you.
That's what I'm saying.
So y'all cool with him? Y'all cool with him starting week 1? No preseason games played at all. Just come straight out the gate week 1.
Hey, that's how he had to do it last year.
He's already shown he doesn't need it.
Off the gate. He had to come straight off the gate. He wasn't playing in practice. He wasn't ever throwing with the ones. The first time he ever got in with the ones is the next week after that game, because he came in the game. It was the next practice. That was his first time ever playing with the ones, meaning he came in there and played with those dudes. That was his first time ever playing with that ones group, and did what he had to do it last year. He got that makeup, bro. He got that makeup. He may not have the arm. He may not have all those other intangibles, but bruh, I know most of the best quarterbacks ever that played this game don't have those intangibles. It ain't always about power, speed, and what it looks like. At some point, it come down to what you do on the field, bro, and what he does on the field, bro.
It's situational awareness.
I mean, he's better than Jimmy, and he's better in all the physical aspects of Jimmy. And Jimmy won football games. We don't need, from what I saw and what you've seen of Kirk Cousins and everything off the top, it was like 31 points a game, bro. That's what he came in and did immediately. Like, those are numbers no one besides Matt Ryan put up in this offense, and an early Kirk Cousins. Like, those are the dudes that put up the type of numbers that he put up in the time that he's playing. It's like, yes, he could maybe throw the deep ball better or something like that. But the fact is that in this offense, a run first offense, Kyle Shanahan with Christian McCaffrey, your numbers can't get much better than what Brock Purdy's are, because there's not the opportunity to have these numbers, because you're a run first team.
So ultimately, and we can get off the quarterbacks. Brock Purdy come out, he healthy. He looking like Brock Purdy from last year. We could commit to Brock Purdy, trade Trey Lance, free up that bread, and keep Sam Darnold and what's the other guy name? Brandon Allen for the
Yeah.
backups.
No,
That's ultimately the plan.
I don't think that they're trading them this year just because of injury.
You have to have a team that can lead it, that can play effectively in our system. You got to keep Trey this season. He's got to be your two. Anything happens to Purdy because Purdy plays on his shield, you got to have somebody who can step in and win the game. You know, and the more reps Trey gets, the more he gets to play, the more he's QB2, the more confident he. And he's also auditioning for his next job. Come on, let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It would appear like that could be what he's doing at this point.
I would be.
I mean, it's a numbers thing ultimately.
Facts.
How much he getting paid this year?
10 million, almost 11 million.
Ooh.
Next year, at least the same thing, and they're not gonna want to pick up the 5th-year option,
Facts.
right?
Nope.
So come
He's
on,
playing
we
it for
call
his
a
next
spade a
job.
spade. Yeah, if Purdy, if it's as advertised, they should be trading the brother sooner than later. But
Do you think
next
they
year.
will? Do you think they will this season? Because I don't think they will.
I don't think they can afford to. After what happened to him at the end of last season, without a viable backup quarterback, it would be insane with a Super Bowl quality team that we have to get rid of your QB2.
Honestly, bro, like the whole taking the whole doing right by guy out the window, I say they wouldn't do it because ultimately I don't feel they have the stones to make that type of move. That take stones and commitment. And honestly, they as a staff, they don't really want their feet held to the fire.
Yeah, facts.
So they not men enough to make bold moves. That's why I say all this shit ultimately come back to Kyle and them to me, because if you draft a dude that high, screw Jimmy. He out of here. I'm the head. Locker room gonna do what I tell him to do. He's the man. Get on board. I got enough power. All y'all know you got to get on board if you want to be here. So it's not gonna be no real pushback after I really tell y'all this what it is. But they didn't have the stones to do it then, and they not gonna do it now. They're gonna hold on to him, and Brock Purdy hopefully will make him look good enough where they can't be held accountable for Trey Lance. Then you just sneak him out the back door because Purdy doing so good. It don't that type shit. Instead of just cutting bait and
The only thing that saves them in a move like that is somebody had enough foresight to take Mr. Relevant and make him a QB1. That's the only thing that saves them face.
And that's a spin. And that's a narrative, because really you didn't do that. You didn't have whoever and get Russell Wilson after you paid this dude all this money and say screw that.
Right.
You lucked up on this due to injury. It wasn't like you saw him and said shit, he better than Trey and just get him in there. So
how did Tom Brady get his first start? Behind some injuries, right?
Oh, definitely. So spin the narrative, but don't make it. You see what I'm saying? Like,
well,
I agree.
And then on the other side, you know what I'm saying? It's like they went 5-0 with Jimmy, and then they paid Jimmy that money. You know what I'm saying? And then it turned out at the end of it, it was obvious like they weren't the best system for each other. So that's another reason for them not to trade Trey Lance. Ultimately, it's what you said is straight up holding them to the fire and taking responsibility. I don't think that they got I'm totally with you from that standpoint. And so
my coach used to tell me that we all know what we don't know. What we don't know is what we really have until we see it in game time situation. We know what we hope for. We're on a hope system right now. We hope that Purdy comes back and does what he did. We hope Trey is still out there trying to prove himself 24/7, can spell Purdy, so we don't end up beating our quarterback up like we don't beat our running backs up. We hope Sam Darnold, if he comes in and clean up, doesn't throw a game away. We're on a kind of a hope system. We're hoping we find a comfort zone in our quarterback because we have enough offensive talent and defensive talent to go deep and win this thing. But
That's true.
that's where we're. We're on a hope system right now. A
Yeah, man.
knowledgeable hope system, but a hope system.
Well, speaking of hoping, bro,
Mm-hmm.
you was talking about the physical conditioning of
Hello,
the
yep.
team, and we
Mhm.
hoping that we don't get any more injuries. So, uh,
Yep.
talk to me as far as this conditioning, because I figure I know where you're going with it, but I do definitely don't want to assume.
In the NFL, because I had to go back and do some research on this because the Niners keep getting bit on the injury bug, the key players at key times. Okay.
True that.
And typically, it's the lower half of the body because in NFL, 50% of all major injuries are the lower half of the body. And you would think statistically that means 50% would be the upper half, but no, it's not. Only 30% are upper body. And on your offensive players, 73% are sprains, strains, and tweaks.
Okay.
And that's a conditioning issue. You can, and it's also a usage issue. You can use a player into an injury. You know what I'm saying? They one season when they wore Debo out, what happened after next season? Broken foot,
Yep.
right? All right. I question, and I'm not doing this based on any facts. It just our strength and conditioning systems or whatever we're doing doesn't seem to pass the smell test. We get too many of the same injury to the key players year after year after year. What are we doing differently? Prez hit it on the head earlier. A lot of these players are so talented, they don't need a lot of preseason games and don't need to tweak things and get hurt trying to play at game speed. And I think we need to take that approach this year. Pull a lot of these guys out earlier.
Does
That's my
that leave them susceptible though when you go from not playing at full capacity and then you go straight into everything matters week 1?
No, not at full capacity. I'm talking about full capacity for a quarter, first quarter, fourth quarter. The second and third quarter are the mundane quarters, we used to call it. Let's walk, let's talk.
Prob.
Let's spell our players, get them in a playing condition, let them peak at the right time. Don't have them peaking in the third week of the season by playing the hell out of them during preseason. 9 years in a row, we've had significant injuries by game 3. Think about it. Look at the last 9 seasons. I had the list, but I lost the damn thing of all the significant players.
Yeah,
But you can go back and look.
It goes back to the Harbaugh era for sure.
Yeah.
How long has he been? Yeah. How long has Coach been there? This 7 seasons? Harbaugh's been gone with.
Yep, feel like it.
Yeah.
6. Yeah, this might be the 6th season, I think.
Yeah. And every place Harbaugh goes, you got the injury bug too.
Yeah, man. And I think some of it has to do with the style of football we play. Both sides of the ball.
Quick,
Definitely.
speed. We're playing speed football.
Oh, and then in there, it's all power. It's all.
But
brute.
it's the physical. Yeah,
It's the
physical
physicality
version.
that we bring. You know what I'm saying? That. Yeah, no, I think I personally think it has more to do with the style of play than over usage. And the only reason I would say that is because all the other teams' players got to play every down in the same capacity. That's the only reason I say that is all the stars on each team are playing every down that they can in the regular season.
Regular season, okay. I'm worried about more preseason and when they peak. Plus the fact this season, like a lot of seasons, we got a Super Bowl quality team, but we also got a lot of depth at a lot of key positions. With the exception of what we don't know about quarterback.
Oh, we got one. I mean, we have the best quarterback room in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. And And it doesn't really
So
matter because you know what I'm saying. Hopefully, no one has to see your backups and your quarter. So I'm not saying it's like
absolutely.
a thing, but as far as the setup, you know what I'm saying, having him, then Lance and Darnold, I mean, it don't really get better than that. You know what I'm
No.
saying? Regardless of who comes in, if we're talking about the games on the line, and you're in the middle of the season.
Cornerbacks are strong, running backs are strong, receivers are there. The
Yeah.
offensive line is questionable on one
But
side at least.
it's week by
De-
week. We know what this is.
defensive
Real.
line is strong. I mean, in a world of best case, worst case scenarios, we got a lot more best case scenarios than we do worst cases.
Now on that D line though, like I know we lost a couple dudes who was the rotational guys or whatnot.
Yeah,
So I'm interested to see how these new rotational guys gonna do. You know what I mean?
Facts. Oh, I think this is
did,
the best line we've ever had, defensive line for
did,
sure. This
did
is the
y'all
Oh
best.
see?
yeah, definitely the starters.
Did y'all see how Drake came into camp this year?
But he
Picked up
he should be
12.
starting, right?
Yeah, picked up
But they
12 pounds.
they said Colin Farrell is outplaying them. They said when besides Drake Jackson's been hurt the last couple of days, it was already saying that Clinton Farrell
Yeah.
is basically look like the starter. And then there's who's the dude from the Lions?
Oh yeah. Damn it. Where's my
Hey
list?
yo, he's killing too. Like that rotational fourth in hole, bro. The other side of Bosa, we may not have a guy, but boy, do we have guys.
Some
Like
guys, huh?
Yes.
Right.
Jackson Farrell, and I can't think of dude's name. He was hurt for the beginning of preseason of camps and everything, but he's been back and he's been making noise.
Was it Daryl Johnson?
Nah,
No, I no, I,
Damn.
I'm about to find it.
Yeah, I'm looking it up too.
I'm looking at a
What
little
what did
Purdy
it?
highlights
Austin
here.
Bryant. Austin
Austin
Bryant.
Bryant.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
I
then
have
we
been
got,
hearing that name a
and then
lot.
we got Kerry Hyder who can go in and out. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's definitely stacked. I think that third linebacker position is
Question.
probably the biggest battle in camp right now.
Mm-hmm.
If the D line could definitely, keep coming like they've been coming, as far as staying fresh and consistent, then you already know shit. It's up.
It's gonna be
Facts,
lights out.
And
It's
and
facts.
gonna
like
be
when you were
lights out.
describing that defense, Prez, and I know, you saying that's kind of a situational thing, but just all the names you was naming, especially in the interior, bro.
Whew.
It's wild. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. But because man, it's time. Like man, like you ain't never had no top pass rush, and we've had Bosa for 4 years. Like that's unacceptable.
You got to
Like
get him some help from
Props.
the other side.
it's
And them
unacceptable.
bad boys is coming.
That don't even make sense, bro. Uh, yeah. So it's time. It's absolutely time for them to put it together and it show up on the field because this shit's ridiculous year after year. The amount of sacks we can't force doesn't make any sense to me.
If they ever get it all together, I mean, there'll be no place to go.
For real.
Oh,
And
this
And,
is
that's
we,
it.
gonna get those
and
them
then you add to
turnovers
the
y'all
fact
want.
that our offense will be getting a lot of short fields, and we specialize in dink and dunk, and players breaking plays. It's gonna be a pleasure to watch.
Oh yeah.
Pleasure to watch. This is one of those teams that you can overcoach. Does that make sense? You can almost overcoach this team. You've got so much to choose from, so many weapons to use. You can almost overcoach them. Let them play ball.
For
Don't hold
sure.
And
them
I,
back. You got a
I can
thoroughbred
feel
that you're
that
trying to
just a
turn into a
little
quarter
too.
horse. Let it run. Both sides of the ball.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, and they all should be self-powered with how we just lost last year. There should be a
Woo.
hunger. There should be a hunger and thirst and everything for these dudes that have been here, Shanahan's and tenure. Like, and you know what it is. Like, you know what it is. Like that. I've never have I felt never have I felt coming into a season like understanding like ultimately, man, it's 16 games. Do what we got to do. Stay as healthy as we can, and then none of that shit matters because you got to go into the
Yeah.
playoff.
You got to bring it home.
like after
Right.
after getting to the NFC Championship and losing Purdy like the way you do, and losing that game on the fourth play of your first drive, and he's 3 for 3 marching down the field on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Knowing we would,
lose him that way, and that's how it ends. Like, there's no, at this point, I don't look forward to nothing because it's like anything and everything has happened to us. So it's just like, man, this shit is grueling. It's week by week, and then we got to get there, and then you got to win it, and then ultimately, if you don't win it, none of it means shit. It's wild, bro. It's
It
like
lets you know how importantly unimportant the fucking regular season is.
exactly.
and pre and
You
preseason.
facts, and we praying. We just praying to be healthy, and ain't got no reason to believe we will be healthy because we are never healthy.
We're snake bit, but at some point, you can't keep having Super Bowl caliber teams and not win it. You got to get lucky at least once. Good gracious.
I'm definitely there. I'm
You know what I'm saying? We
Real
ain't
talk,
asking
bro.
for too much. Just give us one more. Let us
Nah,
do what we do. In other words, if we're going to lose, let us lose with our best.
right.
Now, we shouldn't lose by losing with what we have left. That's a horrible feeling. And and I tell you one thing, I'll never forget as long as I live. It's not as important to me as Willis Reed with the Knicks. I'm telling my age. When Purdy came back in that game, that made him QB1 for this season for no other reason. You feel me?
shit.
I've heard it.
I'm
He
ready.
definitely gonna have the opportunity to prove it, bro. I can't wait. I just want to see some football, honestly.
Facts.
I'll be checking out, the game Sunday against the Raiders.
Yeah,
Check out the depth of the team. And like y'all say, we should get a good look at Lance.
I
And
think so.
I'm thinking we should see our old Brandon Allen a little bit too, huh?
Yeah.
Fourth quarter at
Yeah,
least or something.
I would definitely like to see Brandon Allen.
Yeah, I want to check him out.
You
See how
know,
he looking.
and our running backs should be rotating in and out, all of them except for Matt.
Yeah, I want to see TDP. Want to
TDP
check
got
him out.
manhandled today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was looking at it earlier, but he's got to play himself in a little bit of shape too. Mason is game ready right now.
Yeah,
He's a
that boy the
beast.
truth.
He is a straight up beast. I didn't know the Purdy weighed 220 pounds though.
Oh, Brock.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
yeah. Kittle's 250, Purdy's 224, 220. I'm sorry. U6 235.
Damn, he's only 15 pounds lighter than Juszczyk.
Mm-hmm. Look it
That's
up.
crazy.
Seriously.
Oh, I believe. Yeah, that's I love it. That's my dude, bro. That's my dude. Until
And
shit.
IU for all his speed weighs 200.
Cause like for me, we ain't had no quarterback that got the moxie, that talking. Like we just got a different fire underneath uh him that I ain't seen this team ever have. I was young with Steve Young. I was super young with Joe Montana, so I wouldn't remember. So I don't remember if Steve Young was real vocal and
Say, bruh,
outspoken.
truth be told, when you say that, prayers, the moxie, I'm gonna call it swag.
Yeah,
Jeff Garcia had a little bit,
he did. Jack Garcia had it. Facts,
but
facts.
really and true, the dog, we ain't had that mode paying since Kaepernick. Let's keep it a buck.
That's true.
Cap kissing the bicep. Cap,
Yeah, facts,
Cap
facts.
out there.
Yeah, man. So it's I'm just ready. I'm ready to see the boy play, bro. Cause
I'll tell you something else too. 2020 and 2021, Debo at his
here we
best seasons. I'm bringing this up for a reason. He's coming into camp 12 pounds lighter.
Let's go.
And From what I'm hearing from the locker room, they say he's more focused. They don't have the outside distractions of talking too much trash and pissing off his teammates. So, and he
Yeah,
feels like he's got to prove himself. Ayuk's the best receiver. McCaffrey's the best running back. Debo's got to start being a playmaker again. And he admits last season was trash. He has admitted to his teammates. So let's see.
And I go back to that conditioning you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And not all them goddamn soft tissue injuries.
You know, a lot has been said about you play like you practice. Well, you practice like like you work out in condition. It starts there. You know, if your base ain't together, you can practice all you want to, but if you're not in shape, or if you don't have a good balance, you'll be hurt. And this league is fast, very unforgiving. Very unforgiving.
Now we
But
had go ahead, on my bad.
no, you're good. But all that being said about injuries, at some point it comes down to luck too.
yeah.
True that.
And
All
I
that
think
shit comes down to luck. When we talk,
we've had our share of bad luck. And I just hope and pray that we have a season as injury free to keep players as possible, because then we can see what our true potential is.
oh, smashing everybody. We ain't injured, bro. We ain't if we didn't have to constantly play everybody 60%.
85%. Yeah.
Like, oh, and we do what we do. Oh, bro, we would smash teams, bro. We would but that ain't the reality, and anybody can say that, so I get it. But yeah, bro, don't let us be healthy, please. Slapping everybody.
You know, last week we talked about running backs throughout the NFL. Do you notice how quiet it's got about the NFL the last week and a half? You ain't heard no talk about no contracts with no running backs. It's like the NFL decided, oh, this is embarrassing. Let's just squash it. You don't hear it on First Take. You don't hear it on ESPN. Yeah. You don't hear about it on nowhere.
It's easy because they control the media. So they control what gets out and don't get out.
Which takes me right back to Montgomery, Alabama. I've been wanting to say something about that all night. That security guard doing his job. I'm going to tell you what. If somebody on the 49ers sideline takes a hat and throw it straight up in there, you know what time it is. They bring everybody on the field.
Oh man, oh you crazy.
I want to be that fan that jumped in the water and swam to the pier. I tell you what, it wasn't money to make light over funny. When that brother jumped in that water and he didn't miss a stroke, and I started hearing things like Black Woman. Bro, I kid you not, it's the most athletic thing I've seen in a long time. That kid hit the water at a straight dive, went 50 yards, and popped up out the water onto the pier and had hands ready to throw. Somebody need to sign that brother to something.
To something.
I mean, the 49ers can make him a water boy for real. But what do we?
Yeah, bro. Like joint practices, like who y'all, battles y'all looking forward to seeing or hearing about?
Well, today was the first one, and they said that Jimmy was moving the ball up and down the field on the defense, bro. Which don't mean he's more motivated. It's just funny that it worked. He had that day. Right. So I expect tomorrow for them to shut him down, considering.
You gotta remember something, Joe. Let's be honest. Jimmy has left some love in that locker room too.
Oh, of course.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hands down, So, I mean, you don't want to make him look bad because he left with a lot of goodwill.
Man, for all Jimmy's shortcomings, you gotta respect how Jimmy played the game. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
And how he treated his teammates.
Right, on and off the field. Like he kept a poker face, bro. You know what I'm saying?
And he could have been a pain in the butt.
Yes, bro.
And nobody got more negative coverage in the media than Jimmy Garoppolo, bro. It was just
right. Yeah, after once it turned.
Bruh,
Yeah.
for him to stay the consummate professional he always was, and like you said, had a poker face, bro. That's one of the strongest dudes because you had the world at you coming at you. So for him to stay, you know what I'm saying, the poker face, yeah, you definitely got to give it to him. Cause, bro,
It's all good. It's all good. Look, at the end of the day, we can analyze this to death, but it comes down to what OG said. Let's see some football.
Facts.
Oh, I can't wait till Sunday, bro.
Let's see some football. You know, let's see some pad hitting, some fighting. You know what I'm saying? Let's see some trash talking. Let's see football go from the no fun league back to where it used to be. Let's see some knockdown drag out games. I'm tired of these 9-6 games. Let's see some balling.
Right.
You know? And I got a feeling this season is going to be wide open. And I think the country's going to need it with all the foolishness going on. We need to see some good football.
Oh, it's gonna be. We got a bunch of good games, man.
Early.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Well, fellas.
Yeah, it's about that time, brother.
At that time, players. You know, back in the day, we used to call this beer 30.
Oh boy, you be coming with him, huh?
One of my good friends, just we worked together in the carbons, and he'd come up to me and say, "Hey man, it's beer 30." He go out to the trunk of his car and bring out some Schlitz malt liquor beer. Let me tell you something, man. You ain't never been hit upside the head till you get a Schlitz high.
Boy, said Schlitz.
Man, that's the bottom of the barrel. I'm talking about the brown and white. Even the can was ugly, and the hangover was worse. But man, you got your head right quick. But that's not gonna get your head knocked.
Oh man!
And after that, we would hit the clubs on the way home and go back to work and do it all over again. when old boys, his name was God rest his soul, his name was Eugene Dorsey. When Dorsey would say, "Brownie, it's beer 30." I don't care what I was doing, we was hitting the dough. So, fellas, as always, it's beer 30.
Pleasure, man. Pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be able to chop up the game too, bro. Next episode they'll be in play, so we could talk about the game, and then
we chop that game up
next.
Yeah.
So shit, yeah. Appreciate y'all, man.
You already know, man.
Prayers, Uncle Keith, been good. Shouts out to P Warrior, Faithful Boys. We out the door.